New tonight on KGW News, the newly released video that Oregon's lawyers say proves it's federal agents creating the chaos at Portland's ICE facility. Plus,
911, what's the address of the emergency?
I would like to order a pizza.
the coded 911 call that brought a domestic violence survivor help and potentially justice. Then, the search for shoplifters caught on video accused of dragging a business owner through her parking lot. And later,
They admit that their SNAP benefits are gone and they just need some kind of assistance. They're trying to feed their families.
as millions wait for delayed and slimmed down federal food assistance, how the community response continues to grow. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco, and first at 11, we're getting a closer look at some of the evidence a federal judge is weighing to decide whether or not to permanently block President Trump from sending the National Guard to Portland. We'll get to those videos in just a moment. But first, Judge Karen Immergut issued a preliminary injunction last night, one that once again pauses troops until this Friday, when she is expected to rule at the very latest.
If there's a permanent injunction, that is not something that disappears in 14 days. But obviously, by the very phrasing of it, it's permanent.
Though no matter which way this goes, we expect the losing party would quickly appeal to the Ninth Circuit, and the case could eventually reach the U.S. Supreme Court. Let's bring in Alma McCarty in the newsroom. Alma, the Trump administration argues it needs to send in troops to protect federal facilities, while the state of Oregon is pushing back, saying the feds are part of the problem.
Yeah, David, videos submitted by the Oregon DOJ show federal officials using what they believe to be excessive force against seemingly peaceful protesters, creating, attorneys argue, the very emergency they seek to address with the National Guard.
During the three-day trial in federal court, the federal government and the state submitted more than 750 exhibits, evidence for and against the deployment of federalized National Guard to Portland. As first reported by the Oregonian, videos shared by the Oregon Department of Justice show just some of the confrontations between federal agents and protesters. Confrontations plaintiffs label as excessive force on the part of the feds. The first video from August 13th shows two masked officers run behind a man standing on the sidewalk and shove him to the ground. Another angle of this incident showing 24 agents coming down the driveway as gas from one of their canisters fills the air. 3 days later, footage shows agents rushing down the road after protesters amid more smoke and tear gas. Then, in a time jump to the end of September, federal officers are seen converging on a group of people near the driveway after one pushes a demonstrator. Agents grab 2 more people, pulling them inside. The final 2 clips are from October 2nd, the first around 8:15 p.m. After a protester crosses the blue line, agents can be seen running after her and walking her inside. Around 9 p.m., another person crosses the line, prompting several agents to charge forward.
They come out and practice crowd control, using crowd control munitions against nonviolent protesters.
We talked with protester Vincent Hawkins, who detailed his experience with agents outside the facility. He was struck by a canister in the eye back in June.
I've been shot. I know friends that have had their bones broken, and they continue to come out here.
Meantime, the feds say there are protesters who are being violent against officers. 38 people have been charged with federal crimes near the ICE facility. The most recent, a Portland woman who made her first court appearance Monday for allegedly striking an officer's arm.
We reached out to DHS for comment on the videos, and although we got an initial reply confirming the department did receive the request, we haven't yet gotten a response to our inquiry. David?
Thanks, Elma. I appreciate you going through all of that evidence and for your reporting tonight. Well, as we mentioned, we are far from seeing the end of this legal battle. To catch up on our coverage and the latest news lines anytime, head to KGW.com, check out our mobile app, or download our free TV streaming app, KGW+. All right, let's turn to your forecast with rain tonight and rain tomorrow, with it all intensifying later this week, which means we're declaring a weather impact alert. Matt's here with a first look at the timing. Hey there, Matt.
David, it has been a really wet night. The rain's been coming down super hard. It's foggy and rainy in Portland, 47 degrees right now. Temperature hasn't gone up at all. Same thing in Salem. The rain is still falling. But I can see the end of it, at least for now. You can see this back edge just about to clear. I-5 in the Portland area. The rain will end in Salem shortly as well. And as we widen the view out, there's really not much behind this right now. So we should actually end up with several hours of dry weather overnight and for the first part of Tuesday. And then we ramp it up all again as the next weather system begins to roll in. The rainfall, though, has been impressive. Portland Airport, 2/3 of an inch. We've had over 3/4 of an inch in downtown Portland. Look at Aurora, 88/100 of an inch, and pushing an inch down in Salem as well with 91/100 of an inch there, more than what we saw on the North Coast. So yes, it's been a really wet night, as I'm sure you're aware. We've got the weather impact alert for Wednesday and Thursday because 2 more storms, one each day, come on in. We'll have rain, we'll have wind, gusts about 35 miles an hour or so in the valley, 45 or so at the coast. So you're going to want to be aware of waters on the roads, secure any loose objects like garbage cans that can blow around. We also have coastal flood concerns on the north coast and high surf advisories on the south coast. We'll detail those out in a bit, David.
Hello, November. Thanks, Matt. All right, we are less than an hour out from Election Day, which means dig those ballots out because they need to be in a drop box by 8 o'clock Tuesday evening or postmarked with tomorrow's date at the very latest. In Portland, voters are deciding whether they're willing to pay 75% more to fund the city's parks. That's an extra $133 a year in property taxes for the average homeowner. In Vancouver, there's a proposal to increase property taxes to fund more police officers as well as a race for mayor. And Washington County voters are considering a property tax jump to potentially 3% to support public safety. That is just the overview. We, of course, will have full results tomorrow on KGW News at 11 and starting at 8 on KGW.com. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, Portland police are investigating 5 weekend shootings. It all happened within just a few hours of each other and across the city. 2 people were killed, one at a parking lot downtown and another at a North Portland gas station. At least 4 others were hurt. Overall, though, violent crime is down this year. Portland has seen 41 homicides so far compared to 62 around the same time last year. In the Mount Hood National Forest, the search continues for a hunter who has been missing, authorities say, since Friday. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says Devin Dobick was on a trip about 20 miles southeast of Estacada when he did not come home. Crews spent all weekend and today searching with more than 50 volunteers, local rescue teams, even drones, and a National Guard helicopter. And Multnomah County's controversial and voter-approved Preschool for All program just announced it's adding 240 more seats, with applications open now for classes starting in January.
These additional 240 seats get us to over 3,800 seats for this school year, and we are working on the expansion plan for next year.
Keep in mind, 900 people are already on a wait list to get into the program. Placements will start at the end of the month. New at 11, Portland police are looking for the men behind a violent liquor store robbery that sent the owner to the hospital. Tonight, Catherine Cook has the security video and the plea from her family.
In Southeast Portland, it's business as usual at the liquor store on Southeast 52nd and Powell. A stark contrast to what happened here Friday night, Halloween. Around 6:45, security video shows 3 men walking in wearing masks. You can see them grab merchandise off the shelves before walking out without paying for it. At that point, you see the store's owner, a 73-year-old woman, according to family members, follow them outside. On Facebook, the owner's daughter, Jennifer Fuller, says her mom had hoped to take back some of what was stolen, but then things took a violent turn. It wasn't captured on camera, but Fuller says in a panic to protect her business, her mom reached into the suspect's car. She says they slammed the car door on her hand, causing her to fall, then dragged her through the parking lot before she could finally free her arm. Fuller says her mom suffered a traumatic brain bleed, a fractured skull, and several broken bones. Please pray for us for a miracle, Fuller wrote, that our amazing mom, who was in great health and has never had a broken bone in her young 73 years of life, can come through this. Police tell KGW the major crimes team is investigating the case. They didn't issue a description of the suspects, but here's another look at what the cameras captured. Loved ones hope anyone who's able will share these images, and that anyone who knows who these men are or what car they were driving will tell police.
To further that point, I spoke with the victim's son off camera. He wanted me to share how grateful his family is to the community for spreading the word about the incident and, most importantly, for any information they can share with police. David.
Yeah, Catherine Cook reporting tonight. Thanks, Catherine. In an update on the heels of 2 federal court rulings, the Trump administration announced today it will partially fund the SNAP food aid program during November, though it is still not clear how much recipients, some 750,000 in Oregon alone, will get or exactly when. In the meantime, local governments, nonprofits, and businesses have stepped up to help. Earlier today, we stopped by Portland's Feed the Mass kitchen in Old Town, where crews are ramping up production. The organization telling us they're already doing 6,000 meals a week and now leaning on volunteers to meet a doubling in demand.
These are new, all new contacts. None of them are repeat. And they just need some kind of assistance. They're trying to feed their families, how they're going to make it through the next day. So we just give them what we can.
Well, that is the reality. They're also taking signups online for grocery store gift cards because the USDA warned it could take weeks or even months for states to figure out the reduced benefits. Well, we have a growing list of local organizations that have stepped up to donate, fundraise, and give out free meals for those who may be facing late or reduced benefits. We've made it easy. Just text the word SNAP to 503-226-5088, and we will text you back with a link to that list. And new tonight, a local nonprofit who works to feed local families officially began construction on its future home near downtown Portland. Sunshine Division held a wall-breaking ceremony along Northwest Front Avenue. Organizers say once the reno there is done, the facility will also house its flagship pantry, offering a big boost in capacity.
You know, where do those families, where do the nearly 800,000 individuals go for food? They turn to food relief organizations like Sunshine Division. So we know here in Portland, you know, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 140,000 people. And so it's really somber, but it also reinforces why we do what we do and why this facility is going to allow us to help so many more people.
The new location is set to open in the spring.